What's good, peeps? Thanks as always for passing by the channel. Much appreciated. Hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. Don't forget as well, please, to like and share the vids. Again, thank you to everyone that's doing that. You can also support the channel as well. I do have a Patreon account. The link is in the description. All right, let's do this, people. This week in boxing episode, I have absolutely no idea. It has been a long time coming. This is the first This Week in Boxing of 2020, so we are a bit late. Before we talk boxing, did anyone watch the UFC yesterday? Obviously, you guys know I'm a big UFC fan and a big Jon Jones fan. Did he win yesterday? I don't think so. I think Dominic Reyes beat him. I scored it 3-2 to Dominic Reyes. I gave the first 2 rounds to Dominic Reyes. The third round, that's the one, right? That was close, but I also gave that to Dominic Reyes. And then the final 2 to Jon Jones. So I think he lost that fight. I would say that Dominic Reyes should get a rematch, an immediate rematch, but that's not going to happen. So yeah. Don't know, interesting. A lot of people are calling it a robbery. Calm down. It's not a fucking robbery. It wasn't like 5-0 to Dominic Reyes and then they gave it to Jon Jones. It was very close. It was all about round 3. And I don't know. Again, I'm a Jon Jones fan. I gave round 3 to Dominic Reyes. So for me, Jon Jones lost that fight. It was close in his last fight as well against Thiago Santos. Was it? Yeah, Thiago Santos. I mean, he's slipping a bit. He's definitely slipping. So that talk about him going up to heavyweight, I think he should fucking stay at light heavy if you ask me. All right, let's talk boxing. Let's first go to the results and to Sheffield, the return of Kell Brook. Kell Brook obviously beat Mark DeLuca by 7th round stoppage yesterday. Ended the fight with a jab. What did you guys make of the performance? In doing so, won one of these WBO Intercontinental belts, which mean very, very little. I say very, very little. What it does, obviously puts him high up in the WBO ranking. So, I mean, they have some worth, put it that way. I done a video about it yesterday. I thought it was a solid performance. Again, a guy that's been out the ring for 14 months. What did you expect? What did anyone expect? Mark DeLuca was a decent level opponent, right? It wasn't a guy that was going to come and lay down, but it was also not a guy that was going to beat Kell Brook. So it was good matchmaking. But what next for Kell Brook? Liam Smith's the name that we keep hearing about. Don't like that fight for Kell Brook, if I'm honest with you. Not now, anyway. Not yet. Maybe have 1 or 2 more, and then the back end of 2020, Liam Smith. I can see why Liam Smith wants to fight because he's done nothing since he joined Matchroom. But for Kell Brook, not sure. I'm not sure if I want to see Kell Brook versus Liam Smith. Not now, anyway. Let's build it up. There are a couple more guys I'm sure that Eddie Hearn can find that are like basically Mark DeLuca's, but maybe a bit higher ranked, that he can fight, because again, it's 14 months out of the ring. You don't want to go in there with active world level guys yet. Am I saying that Liam Smith's world level? Yeah, he probably is fringe world level. So not for me, not yet. Kid Galahad also fought on that card. He beat Claudio Marrero. Great performance, by the way. That's as good as I've seen Kid Galahad. I'm going to say ever, but I'm not sure because I can't remember all these fights, but definitely in a while. That was, again, another final eliminator for an IBF, so he's in line to fight Josh Warrington next. I never understand how that works, if I'm honest with you. You had your world title fight against Josh Warrington. For me, if you lose that, you should drop right to the bottom again and have to work your way up. You shouldn't be in a position where, I don't know, you fight sort of for final eliminators and eliminators straight away. You should have to work your way up. And I don't know why they're only going the IBF route as well. What about the other routes? Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that fight can be made. Josh Warrington obviously looks like he's not going to fight Shakur Stevenson next. Shakur Stevenson's obviously got a fight lined up. So Josh Warrington's going to go his own route. But then he wants unification. I mean, I wonder if we're going to get into the same situation where he wanted to fight Oscar Valdez for sort of a unification fight, and he couldn't because of Kid Galahad. So I don't know what's Frank going to do here. We'll see. Terry Harper was a co-main event on that one. Remember, it wasn't Kid Galahad, it was Terry Harper. She beat Eva Wallström for the WBC Super Featherweight strap. I'm pretty sure she had the IBO belt already. Scores 98-91, 99-90, and 99-90. So a dominant win for her. So well done to Terry Harper. Martin Ward was on that card as well. 10-round victory over Jesus. I wrote this down and I can't even read my own fucking writing. And Pampan. I've got that wrong, obviously, but I don't know what I wrote down. Dave Allen on the card as well. It's his comeback fight since he lost to David Price back in July. Beat Dorian Darch by knockout in the 3rd round. Yeah, it's Dorian Darch, isn't it? No disrespect. I say that like I can box. I can't box, but yeah, we'll see what happens with Dave Allen. What would be a good fight for Dave Allen? I'm only thinking sort of British sort of names now. Is Nathan Gorman. Don't know how that fight will be made. Don't know if that fight can be made. That's a decent fight. Anyone else? Can't think. Anyone else is either too not a name, if that makes any sense, not a name, or I think he'll get beat. So I think Dave Allen versus Nathan Gorman, or they might look abroad. But yeah, Dave Allen's back at least, right? Let's go international. Rigondeaux dropped down to 118 pounds. Crazy. To beat Liborio Solis by split decision. That's for the vacant WBO 118-pound belt. I think it's the regular belt. I'm pretty sure it is because Inoue has the full version. Obviously, he wants Inoue next. I don't know. We'll see. Inoue's obviously got a fight lined up. So we'll see. But, it's weird because obviously Rigondeaux has only lost once. Yes, there's been a few lackluster performances. For some reason, I don't think he always shows his best. But he's only lost once and we've completely just written him off, like tarnished him. He's crap. He's rubbish. He's a very, very good boxer. Very good boxer. And I think, when people talk about sort of fighters not living up to their potential, and look, it's difficult to say he's not lived up to his potential. I mean, again, he's only lost once. There was a time when he was literally, I think, one of the most feared 122-pound fighters out there. But he's only lost once. But I feel like he's not lived up to it. I feel like if you were to ask me when he was coming through, what would I think or where would I think Rigondeaux would be in 5 years' time, I would have said 100% pound for pounder and maybe even going down as a great from this era. And that just hasn't happened. But you never know. Inoue fight coming up. Could he beat Inoue? I mean, we saw Donaire cause Inoue problems, right? He rolled the years back. Maybe Rigondeaux can do the same thing. Headline in that card was Gary Russell Jr., who defended his WBC featherweight title against, I'm going to butcher this name, Mayambaya. I butchered it, right? Good victory for Gary Russell Jr. I know a lot of people that are big boxing guys, big boxing fans, were saying that was a banana skin of a fight, but it was quite comfortable in the end for Gary Russell Jr. He wants Leo Santa Cruz next. He hasn't spoke about Josh Warrington and Shakur Stevenson. He wants what I guess he perceives as the money fight. Leo Santa Cruz, though, wants Gervonta Davis. So I don't know what's going to happen there. He says if he doesn't get Leo Santa Cruz, he's actually jumping 2 weight classes to lightweight and trying to get those fights. Interesting. We'll see. I've not seen this result anywhere, but I did read on it. I think someone put it on their Twitter page, so I'm not 100% sure on this one, but it does kind of make sense. Anthony Yarde, I've done a video about Anthony Yarde coming back. Obviously, he had a fight, I think it was in a Spanish nightclub against Diego Ramirez, who really is a super middleweight. But he won that fight, I'm hearing, by 2nd round stoppage. A lot of people have asked, why did he take that fight? Well, the reason he took that fight is because I think he wants to, obviously, there is a vacant WBO belt out there right now. Remember, Sergey Kovalev versus Canelo. Canelo vacated that belt. In order to fight for that belt, you can't fight for that belt coming off a loss, or even to put yourself in a situation where you fight a final eliminator. You've got to have a win. That's the win. Bit naughty, I think, but hey, everyone does what they do, right? Loads of other fights out there, guys. I'm not going to go for all the results. A bit of a random one, but Gary Russell Jr.'s card. Gary Russell Jr. has brothers, right? I should know this, but I don't. Because there were fucking 3 other Gary Russells on that card. Can't be a coincidence. All right, let's talk about fights being announced or fights that should happen or rumoured to happen. The ones that are guaranteed. Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce, April 11th. Fantastic heavyweight showdown between 2 guys that are unbeaten. That should be a good one. Pay-per-view as well. Not quite sure about the undercard. I mentioned Anthony Yarde there. Fingers crossed he can go on the card, but I'm not quite sure. This one came as a bit of a surprise. Say a bit of a surprise because everyone's been asking what's going on with this kid. Josh Kelly, he will fight David Avanesian. I butchered that name as well, I know I have. March 28th, that's for the European title. It's weird because a lot of people were messaging me saying, Ade, what's going on with Josh Kelly? Josh Kelly, He had 3 fights in 2019. 3 fights. So it's not like he was inactive. So I don't know where the questions came from. I know there was a big rumor about him joining Top Rank, but obviously he's got the fight he wants now, and he's got it at home. I say home, O2 Arena, I think, because obviously he's from the Northeast, isn't he? But good fight, right? Sink or swim fight. I would favour the name I'm going to butcher again, Avanician. I would favour Avanician over Josh Kelly, but we'll see. This one's gone under the radar a little bit. Carlos Takam. He's fighting Fabio Maldonado February 28th. Yeah. Maldondo's a former MMA guy, by the way. Michael Hunter, I think, fought him recently. Carlos Takam was supposed to fight Alexander Usyk. That was supposed to be Alexander Usyk's first fight as a heavyweight. He then switched promotions, I think changed management, and so far, this is what we're having. Crap. Well, that's what we're getting with Carlos Takam right now. It's not good for a guy that was getting decent fights when he was on Matchroom cards. Now to this, not quite sure. Fights that are rumoured. In fact, let me go to another fight that has been confirmed. Efe Ajagba will take on Rajvan Kojanu. That will be on the same card as Kalnaki versus Helenius. What is going on? That's crap. That's crap. Think about this. Daniel Dubois fought Kojanu 5 fights ago, I'm going to say. Efe Ajagba's fighting him now. That's poor. I'm sorry. I'm guessing they're a bit nervous now because Efe Ajagba had that fight last time out and got put down. Decent scrap, but got put down. And maybe they're kind of taking it easy with him again, which is disappointing. Let's talk about fights that might happen, and I hope they do. One that we know will happen, but in terms of a date this is, and that's Teofimo Lopez versus Vasyl Lomachenko. We're hearing the date now is May. I think Teofimo Lopez put on his Twitter page May, and then kind of like, I don't know, like a sealing your lips emoji. So I think that's done for May. I don't know where yet, but that's a fantastic fight. Another one that should be happening around that time is Jamel Herring versus Carl Frampton, Windsor Park. Again, Jamel Herring sort of hinted at this by putting something on his Twitter page as well. That one should go down in June. So those are all the kind of rumoured fights and fights that should or might happen, and hopefully they do happen. Let's get to the news. Not much news. I'll start with this. And this isn't really news, but I don't know. A lot's been spoken about mental health recently and people speaking out. And I think it's important, by the way, that people do speak out about mental health and depression. I've had my own battles with depression over the years, 100%, for a number of different reasons. So I understand how difficult it can be when you try and keep it in and boiled in. It's not great. I'm lucky that I've got so many great family members and friends, and my ex as well, that I could speak to about these things. But it's not easy, and I talk about that because Deontay Wilder talked about sort of battling suicidal thoughts and depression after his daughter was born with spina bifida. He spoke about sort of having a gun in his hand. That was around 2005, 2006. But yeah, it's not easy. I don't think it's easy for men, especially, I don't know. Yeah, it's just not easy for men. It's not easy for anyone, but definitely not easy for men to talk about depression. But I think people really need to start having the conversation, whether you know someone that's going through it or you yourself are going through it. I've spoken about it on this channel. I've spoken to a few subscribers and had conversations with them, people that have said they're struggling and going through things. And I've just had a conversation with them. Reach out to people if you know they're struggling, people. All right, let's talk about some fights that are close to being announced, or at least Eddie Hearn says they're close to being announced. And that's Joshua Pulev, Povetkin Dillian White, and Chisora Usyk. Eddie Hearn, in an IFL TV interview, says those fights are all very, very close to being announced, and just a few things need to be ironed out. I guess it's just about dates now, because they're all going to be pay-per-view, obviously. I say obviously. Do you think any of those won't be pay-per-view? We know Joshua Pulev will be pay-per-view. Chisora Usyk, it's pay-per-view, people. It's pay-per-view, sorry to disappoint you. And Povetkin Dillian White is pay-per-view as well. It's just how it is. Those are all going to be pay-per-view. Are we happy about that? So, look, in fact, let me take that back. You're never going to be happy about a fight being pay-per-view. Why would you be happy about spending, I don't know, 20 quid, 25 quid? You're never going to be happy about that, are you? You're not. So, but are we understanding as to why these are all pay-per-view or why I think they'll be pay-per-view? But yeah, it looks like they're going to happen, which is good, right? We should be happy about it. Talking of pay-per-view, Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder has been up to $24.95 by BT Sport. Remember, Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua was upped as well. Well, BT Sport have followed suit, but they're upping the price of that pay-per-view event. What do you make of that? Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's quickly talk about Tyson Fury and his weight. I actually saw a photo of Tyson Fury with Michelle Joy Phelps. I might do a separate video on it, actually. He looked in good shape. He looked in very good shape. There is a lot of talk about Tyson Fury coming in around 270 pounds. I'm not sure. I think that's all mind games. I think he'll come in a bit lighter because he looked a bit lighter in that photo anyway. I know photos can be deceiving, right? But unless they're photoshopping photos now, which I think they did with Andy Ruiz, to be honest with you, I think he's going to come in lighter than 270. Deontay Wilder's trainer said Deontay Wilder will come in mid-220s. I mean, so according to that, Deontay Wilder's given away 50 pounds. 50 pounds, people. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Especially when you think of like the lower weight class. I know it's different. Obviously, once you get past heavyweight, big guys are big guys, right? But when you think of the lower weight classes and people jump in, I don't know, 4 pounds, like from 118 to 122, and then another 5 pounds, whatever. And we get so excited, they're jumping weights. 50 pounds difference, possibly. That's, yeah, that's madness. I've not really spoken about this because I didn't really want to touch on it, but let's touch on it now. Gervonta Davis's incident. I think we've all seen the video footage. If you haven't, then it's floating around in sort of the social media world right now with him. Is that his girlfriend? I'm guessing it is, where he sort of smacks her phone away and then grabs her by the throat and then takes her outside. Now, according to TMZ, I fucking hate TMZ, I can't lie to you. But according to TMZ, they have backstage footage of him actually striking her, him actually punching her in the jaw. A professional boxer punching a female in the jaw. He's got his arraignment hearing set for the 3rd of March. I mean, fucking send him to jail. Send him to jail. I'm not one of those people that, oh, if you send him to jail, it ruins his career. I'm sorry, fuck the career. Send him to jail. And again, I don't know what's gone on, but a professional boxer smacking a girl in the face? Nah. There is a lot of talk as well now, and this should be a good fight if it happens. There's talk about it happening. Beterbiev versus Bivol in the summer of 2020. Obviously, a big unification fight. Bivol has what has Bivol got? Bivol's got the WBA. Beterbiev obviously got the WBC and IBF. That'll be a great fight. They're talking about the fight happening in Europe as well. Not in America, not Canada, Europe. That's a good one, I think. Billy Joe Saunders. I am going to do a separate video on this one. I don't know if you guys saw, Billy Joe Saunders done an interview with IFL TV, and Eddie Hearn actually walked into the interview, and Billy Joe Saunders weren't happy, people. They was talking about Canelo Alvarez and those fights and these fights, and Billy Joe Saunders was like, I heard all this when I was with Frank. I heard everything. You're basically saying to Eddie, everything you're telling me right now about my name being up there and me possibly getting the fights, I heard it all with Frank, and I'm pretty tired of hearing it. And I was like, this is interesting. Very interesting. And he's right? When Eddie Hearn signed Billy Joe Saunders, it was like, you're going to get big fight after big fight after big fight. Okay. I think he said the same thing to Liam Smith. We shall see. Look, the fight to make, regardless of whether or not he gets the Canelo fight, and I'm not sure if he will, it's so easy. Make the Callum Smith fight or the Demetrius Andrade fight. He's got to have a big fight next, and it's got to be either of those two guys. Demetrius Andrade would happily step up to 168, happily. And Callum Smith obviously is the 168-pound ring recognized #1. Why can't we have those fights? Why can't we have those fights, people? I don't know. All right, last bit of news. Not a lot of news, is there? There's more news, but I only try and get the news that I'm slightly interested in. Adrian Broner, AB, and Devin Haney, a bit of war of words, and Eddie Hearn basically revealing the DM that Adrian Broner sent him. Adrian Broner sent him a DM saying, for $20 million, because you're worth that, Adrian Broner. I would easily go down to £135 and fuck up. That was his words, not mine. Devin Haney. Devin Haney said he'll have that fight, happily have that fight at a catchweight. A catchweight, I guess, being 140, which is really where Adrian Broner should be. And Devin Haney is a big guy as well. He must boil down from something. I saw a picture, and look, Terence Crawford isn't big, but I saw a picture, well, no, video footage of Terence Crawford and Devin Haney. Devin Haney bigger than Terence Crawford. Telling you fucking now, go and see it. There's a video out there of them two together. Devin Haney is bigger than Terence Crawford. He's about the same height, but a lot thicker. So 140 for Devin Haney would be perfect. Make the fight. I'd happily see that fight at 140. Devin Haney would beat Adrian Broner, which I guess shows how far Adrian Broner's stock has gone down for me, because a few years ago, you wouldn't even put those words together. That wouldn't even be in the sentence, would it? But yeah, Adrian Broner wants 20 million to fight Devin Haney, which basically means he doesn't want that fight. Peace, peeps.